My name is Chris Claremont. You're watching Omni X-Men.
Yeah, you bet your booty you are. It's Tuesday. It's Omni X-Men hour. And that means I got my man, Justin No Good Comics here.
Boom, boom. Check these out, man.
Ooh,
Check these two out. Totally
that
forgot
is
to show.
awesome.
Like Aztec.
Yeah, they're like
Storm
ink and Aztec art. That's
Wolvie.
I love Wolvie's like got the like main thing going. That's cool.
Yeah, I forgot to show these off earlier.
That is cool.
Anyways, doing good, man. Doing good. I'm hyped off of the last episode of Shenanigans we were just on. So
I mean, I feel I'm worried about myself. I pre-gamed again. Whenever I'm with Morbius, I pre-game a little much, and then it's hard to
I'm just starting.
Show.
I'm just starting.
Cheers to you.
Yeah, you too, brother.
Yeah, welcome everybody. This is Omni X-Men. This is the show where Justin and I go back and forth between each other's channels, working our way through the Claremont Uncanny X-Men through these amazing omnibus. This is the third season, so we're on the third omnibus as we work our way through. This is really just a fun show to issue by issue go through Claremont's run on Uncanny X-Men and dive into all the little nuance and all the amazing work that's going on here. Yep. We also give away a ton of stuff. So you friends watching, you need to make sure that you are hanging out to the end and getting onto our giveaway list so that when we randomize that wheel and give away a bunch of of stuff, slabs, raws, mystery boxes, original artwork, we got a link down below to the Instagram account of Tim Stacy. We have together through the hunting of Justin found this incredible artist in the community. Yeah. And we are going to do another commissioned piece of original artwork from this new artist, Tim Stacy, and give that away as part of our giveaway. So
it's going to be awesome.
It's going to be amazing. Yeah. Check out his stuff. Follow if you like original art and you want to see great artists, artists who take commissions. So how do you get on that list? You answer questions at the end of the night. Questions about last week's episode. We were reading annual number 6.
The king
ask questions about Storm and all her goodness as a vampire and her evilness.
John's got the 9-point sexy right there.
I do. Had to show you up. Show you up.
The fancy.
Real
quick.
Yeah.
Totally curveball here. But speaking of showing you that, my LCS has issue 156 at a 9.8 for $100. Should I buy it?
Ooh. 156.
It's with the Starjammers. It's
the
Starjammers.
I'm going to bring our guest on because all I'm seeing backstage is this.
Yeah. Bring him in.
We got the ChettEyeKnight, the 9/8 man himself.
What's up, Chett?
What's up, fellas?
What's going on?
Chat. Yes, Justin. Yes, Justin.
Yeah, all right.
It's a beauty. 9/8, $100.
That's what I'm saying. 9/8, $100. Yeah, 156.
I don't know this man anymore.
It's good. No, I saw it. I'm gonna go tomorrow. We'll see if it's still there.
Stop questioning this.
Yeah. Nice Wolverine. Nice whole back wall you got.
Thank you. Yeah. I figured it had to be appropriate. I had to put something on a wall. Yeah. You guys always have something. I see Justin with the lovely layout. I see John's books every week. Yeah. I said, I got a dip song. I can't just be in a padded cell,
Hell yeah, man. Nicely done.
So if you don't know Chet, I got the link to his Instagram down below. The ChettEyeKnight himself, purveyor of great X-Men books, collector, and absolute boss when it comes to that collection of Byrne Claremont era, especially.
Mm-hmm. Stop. But yes,
and the knowledge, and he brings the knowledge.
He does that too sometimes. Yeah. No spelling, just knowledge.
Yeah, don't ask him to write it out. We got some racial dinners tonight.
Unfair.
We got some racial dinners tonight.
Already hitting below the belt. Let me dive into this chat and say hello to some other friends. We got Kevin from Entropy and Comics tailgating. Good to see you,
Kev.
Yeah, man.
We got Ryan the Magic Lasso with his classic comedy, always ready to go. He says, what does Storm wear under her clothes?
Under her costume?
Thunderwear. There it is. John Big Daddy Ross saying the real question is, will the craziness from Morbius's stream spill over? So yeah, Justin and I were over on Morbius's channel for some really fun conversation centering around slabbing and toys and all these fun things. So if you missed it, you can go through my community tab. I posted the link to watch the show there, so you can check it out. But yes, pre-gaming occurred, so buckle up.
This is gonna, I was gonna say this is gonna be a good show. It's gonna be a good show.
I want to know what happened on that
great.
Morbius.
Yeah. Well, he did reference you by name.
He did, Chett. Oh,
he did earlier.
So can I guess?
He's an anti-slabber, so he was throwing out.
I was just saying it had to do with slabs, didn't it?
You got to bring him on next time.
Usually.
Yeah.
We got Perry in the chat. What's going on, Perry? I'm going to see him at MegaCon in Orlando in a couple of weeks. Nice. I'm looking forward to it.
Big Perry.
We got Nigel from Desired Comics. What is up, sir? How you doing?
Baba Booey.
We got Kachung in the chat. Adelphia is probably hanging right there nearby. He brought out a box and some blue tape. Toys are out of the box and some blue tape. So there you go. That's referencing, yes, the previous program. We got Candace in the chat. What is going on, Candace? Good to see you. We're talking about Legos as well, Candace. So just, be ready.
Yep.
TJ the Slab Dragon says, buy it now.
See?
Done, TJ. Done.
Always listen to TJ. We got J Hood. He said he's starting a new painting while he's doing the line drawing for a 1970 Dodge Challenger.
Very cool. Very cool, Jamie.
All right. Real X-Men fans are here, and I appreciate you guys doing that. We already sent John. He is going. It's already done. No need to donate. Tonight, we are reading one of, if not I'm going to say it, my favorite X-Men comic book. And I have reviewed this show one other time with TJ and my buddy Alec from Whitewell Comics when I think it was 2 years ago, Marvel did a re-release of this series, and they did it as 2 issues, and they were regular comic size as opposed to the magazine size format that I'm going to do this to Chett. I've got a raw copy here out of the bag and board.
I don't remember the reprint, the recent last year.
Yeah, it was 2 years ago, I think. I want to say 2.
Yeah.
I'll dig it out. I've got it somewhere.
I missed that.
I have that somewhere too, and it's filtered with new content.
Yes, they've added some stuff for sure. Man. It went into 2. I want to say it was 2 issues.
Nice.
So I got this one. I got a signed first issue. This is Brett Eric Anderson's signature for issue of first print. I do have a 5th print signed by Claremont. It's my only Claremont signed book because it really does mean that much to me. I said I didn't want to get anything signed by him that I didn't meet him and get him to sign in person.
Yeah.
But this book I kind of like qualified as being a step above. And we'll get into the details of why. But my question to Justin and to Chett, and I think I heard it both backstage, but for everybody else, when did you first read this? How many times have you read it? Where are you at with this book?
I mean, for me, this is my second go around I read it twice this week, in preparation for the show. But before this, it was probably like a year ago that I had kind of just randomly jumped into it because it wasn't part of any order of things or, what we were doing. Obviously, we didn't reach that level of the show yet, but, just always hearing so much about it. It actually probably might've been closer to 2020. That I had actually read this. So a little ways away, but I remember it was just everyone always talking about it. It's a must read thing. And, you should at least have read it once. So I had gone through and read it then, and I'm glad that I did. And I mean, even now going back through it, there's things I picked up again, things I didn't remember from the last time. I just remember how heavy of a read that this is. And nice, to go back through this again. So,
and Chett, how about you?
I remember reading this when it came out. I remember picking it up from a mall. They used to have a Heroes World. So every Sunday, my buddy's mom would drive us there. We'd pick up books and so forth. But I remember when I got this one and read it, I mean, it's literally that serious. So, you can make the connection to it as a real bigotry, racism type story from an X-Men book. So I guess this basically laid it out for me that it wasn't always, the fight against Magneto or whatever else. This is more the hated and feared portion of it. So that's what I took from it. It's an excellent read. I read it maybe 5-10 times when I had it originally. And I'd say it's got to be about 20 years since I actually read it. But reading it again tonight just to catch up again, I told you before backstage, John, it's like you know, it hits you exactly the locations, what's being said, how much hatred is actually being spread, you know, murder, everything, religion. It's full of everything, and it's definitely that high on a top 3 list of best X-Men for me.
Nice.
So, and that's hard to do with 112, 113, and 114 in the way, or, you know, 111, 112, and 113 in the way. Notice I didn't say 110.
And one of those is your favorite arcade cover, right?
Moving right along.
What is up, Steve from Hip Hops and Me? Good to see you, sir.
Steve,
how you doing, brother? All right, so Justin, we've been getting to know our guests a little bit. We've done this once with Chett before, but let's see if we can crack this nut a little deeper.
Yeah, I was trying to think of what we might have thrown your way the first time around, Chett. But I'm going to ask. I mean, I always got to know about the superpowers. So, what type of mutant superpower would you prefer to have if there was one for you that you would replicate from a mutant?
I've always said Wolverine is ideal. You never die. You get a cut. Oh well, you bleed out for a few hours. You're okay in a few hours. I would love that, but who wants to live forever? So I think after reading this book, I think I would want Magneto's power.
Yeah, heck yeah, man. He's just like
he is such a boss in this book.
It's outrageous just how much power that man has.
Yeah, and they illustrate it so well.
And so I'd got to go with Magneto.
Nice. Do you have one, John? Because I have one. I do have another little unique, little different. So Chett, another one is if you had to choose, like, who would you say is the most underrated mutant, just in terms of fandom and recognition that maybe it lacks? You know, people that don't really look at that character as it should be. Who would you say is underrated?
Well, for an Omega level mutant, I would have to say Iceman is very underrated.
Fair.
He barely ever comes up, and meanwhile, he's one of the most powerful anything's on the planet. So that's going to be my pick, Bobby Drake, even though it's a little bit of a Fruit Loop type of pick.
No, I think it's a solid pick.
Yeah.
Sarcasm.
Yeah.
Anyway.
My question was going to be, like,
Bobby Drake.
Do you have, when you think of X-Men and your collection and the books that you love, obviously you're a big Byrne fan, is there one cover that you're like, this is the greatest cover in the run? Like, stories are one thing and art interior is one thing, but like that one book's cover this is the cover.
It's tough.
You got me. Oh man, I'm going through each one in my head. I gotta go with 114. The day the X-Men died.
Yeah.
That is that cover is ridiculous.
A lot of emotion.
I mean, you have the real, you have the ghosts, you have the dark background. Tell me you have that laying around somewhere.
I'm gonna say, let me see if I can dig it out. You keep talking about it.
But yeah, it's definitely that one. And the close second, I would have to say, is 107. A lot of people on that. There you go. That's that's got to be my favorite cover.
It's like a bunch of ghosts in the background. Like,
it means so much after reading that run. You know what I mean? So I definitely think that's my favorite cover.
Nice pick.
Yeah, really nice pick.
There you go.
Cool.
That's why I keep that box.
Kudos to John for finding it on the spot.
Yeah.
I try to be ready.
Keeps it close. Yeah. Close to the heart.
I do that. I'll set off a couple of alarms.
Well, thanks, Chett. I appreciate that. And the links for Chett are down below. We're going to dive into this issue, tonight's storyline, and God Loves, Man Kills. I wrote December 82. This is a book that has an interesting publication timeline. So a lot of people will call this a January 83 book. I know that there were people who said that it was on their shelves at the end of November 82. So I just chose December 82. Seems to be most consistently the date given for publication or when it landed in comic shops for people. So,
I bought it in December of 82.
There it is. Good. So I'm glad I picked that one correctly. Also, anybody looking to read this digitally or looking for Go Collect info on this, as a reminder, the technical title is Marvel Graphic Novel number 5.
Exactly.
And, there's a lot of books in that run, Death of Captain Marvel, obviously, and the first appearance of the New Mutants in New Mutants. So those books all technically would be found. You search Marvel Graphic Novel, and then you'll get a huge list of these really cool magazine-size, stunning artwork pieces. But most people just call this God Loves, Man Kills. It's the secondary title you see at the bottom there. Justin, let's talk about this cover.
Yeah, man. So I mean, it's bone chilling. I feel like, especially like seeing the face in the background screaming, at the top left hand corner. The artwork is so different. Like, it is so unique compared to what we've seen. Especially recently, like just some of the covers. Obviously there's a little more room to play with, but it's still like this whole series is just very different. I know who is it? Brent Eric Anderson was the artist on this.
Yes, sir.
I mean, yeah. So, like, not very new to his artwork. So seeing it for I think this first time for me, at least, through everything, I feel like he nails it, and it's in a different way than we've ever seen it. And especially in this era. So, I mean, I feel like it tells so much, and yet at the same time, there's still so much to like be curious about with this book.
Right.
The way they're standing around, it looks like they're like ready for something. It's dark, it's gloomy. You got this on the TV there, like this newscast going on, and like I said, it just looks it's like horror-ish to a degree with that face and everything and the faded in the background. So definitely an iconic cover. I feel like that anybody would recognize at this point, especially being on that larger size graphic novel book. So,
right.
Yeah.
Chett, any thoughts here on this cover? You mentioned backstage the city of New York, right? And all these locations, and of course it's floating. If you can't see it in the background there, you have like New York City, and they're all sort of standing on it.
Yeah, I think this cover got me like immediately, simply because I was already used to Byrne all the time. Obviously, remember we got a little bit of a change up after that with Straczynski and whoever else, but this to me, it struck me better than those, like from the 144 on up until we get to maybe Jim Lee or whatever. This cover to me caught my eye more than any of that. So, I mean, just look at it. It's dark. It's, you got seriousness all over the place. You got basically the X-Men is just looking like chess pieces on top of New York City. Yep. So, and that's basically what they went through in here. Is that Stryker screaming or is that the Professor?
I think it's supposed to be Xavier, but it's hard to tell.
Yeah, it's hard to tell.
It's whatever it is. I guess it might be Xavier based on the glimmer in the eye.
And it looks like he's bald, and Stryker has hair, so I'm assuming it looks like that you see the side of a bald head there.
The cover is great. It never really gave anything away to me other than, there's some serious news going on, and the X-Men are fighting based on Cyclops firing, and the rest of the team's involved, and New York City is very heavily involved. So, I mean, that tells the story for me on the cover. So I love the cover overall.
For sure. Yeah. J Hood mentioned something I had no idea about, so I don't know that I can answer it. He says, "Do you know why Neil Adams didn't end up drawing the book as originally planned?" I was not even aware that was a plan. So you're blowing my mind right there.
Yeah. That would have been awesome.
Yeah,
for sure. That would have been sick.
One of the things I also want to mention that I always kind of liked about this is that, like, the cover is the Cyclops blasting away from us. Like, I like that they're not treating it like just everything has to face the reader. They're giving us this fun perspective of like Kitty Pryde looking to the side, and then you've got Cyclops looking backwards, blasting away. I like the perspective of it.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's continue on getting on the inside, where we start off with this brother and sister. They're running in the middle of the night. They come to a playground. They're trying to escape some predator behind them. Then we see this squad of people. They go by the Purifiers. They've been chasing these two. They claim that they are mutants. The boy seems to have some light in his eyes, and they just shoot away, kill both of them, and then hang them up on the play swing set with signs that say Mutie, hoping that the kids that come to school the next day will see that. Magneto, either way too late or way too early, arrives in time to take the display down and vow to avenge these slain innocent kids. Justin, this is a hard way to start, right?
Yeah, man, this is so dark and it's so evil. I mean, it's it's upsetting. It's and the fact that it's, I mean, we're talking mutants here in this book, but it certainly is real life, for what has happened historically, with racism and everything else that's going on and has been going on. And so, they really go into this heavier, scene overall, seeing these kids get murdered simply for how they were born, is it's frustrating, it's angry, it's wrong, it's sad. There's so many feelings to this. So
right.
And then the fact that they hang them up for display is sick. It's just sickening. So yeah, I mean, right away, like you say, when you're reading, when you think of comic books, you're like, oh, I'm gonna like jump into this comic and read this happy-go-lucky thing. But it's like when you read this comic book, it's a different level, man. And I know this is gonna, really be the theme kind of throughout, this whole night. But really, really tough to kind of get through here.
So, Chett, did you remember how this opened? Did you remember the opening page? Did this come as a shocker for you?
I remembered it the second I saw the kids. And I had to read through it again. And hey, if you were ever going to set off a book to get everybody jolted up, you couldn't have started it any better.
Right.
Obviously,
it layers the stakes in right at the beginning. People are going to die. People die.
Brother and sister are right there. Your parents are already been taken care of. All that. It's a tough way to start, but it definitely sets the tone.
Right.
So difficult to read, but yeah, like I said, it sets the tone.
J-Head says that I don't know what IIRC is. There are Neil Adams pages out there. His studio was pushing the more natural coloring style that those books use. Pretty sure that Brett Anderson had worked in his studio. Okay, interesting. Gore says it's an. Firstly, hello, Gore. Good to see you.
What's up, Gore?
It's an arresting opening, especially for a mainstream comic at this time. You saw this in independent and foreign comics from the same era, but not in superhero books.
I wanted to ask that, and not to go too off topic, but yeah, I was wondering if there was anything else in this era, 82, 83, that reached this level of,
I think it was a little bit of that, the purpose of Marvel graphic novels. Obviously, they kicked it off pretty early with Death of Captain Marvel. We're gonna kill this. We're gonna kill a superhero right here in this book,
and we're gonna do it in the most mortal of fashions.
It was the original Black Label, in that they were like, this is gonna be more for an adult, more for a mature reader. They're gonna like the magazine size, the extended cost, and all these kinds of things. I think that was part of the function, I think, of this format. But maybe that's just my memory of it.
Right.
I think you're right. That's my memory of it too.
Okay. Good. So then we cut away to downtown Manhattan area where the Stryker building exists, home of the evangelical Stryker Crusade. And I am a big airplane fan, and I love Stryker. This guy's a psycho. This guy absolutely is bending faith to serve his crazy dogma, and is spending his time preparing an event, a big sermon he's going to be giving, while also breaking down information he has received about mutants, specifically the X-Men, and what he knows about the key team members. You can see them all there, including a new name for Kitty Pryde. She's now Ariel, and she's got a new costume. Lord Almighty, she's back again, this time in green. And he's breaking it all down. Justin, were you like, who the heck is Ariel?
Yeah. Like, what? Did I miss an issue or something here? To bridge the gap? Yeah, that was. I don't really recall like that name Ariel.
This is the first time they use the name Ariel.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, because I know we've talked about she has many names and many costume changes that we've seen already, but yeah, it definitely like I forgot. I totally getting into this. I'm like, oh yeah, okay, Ariel. They went in this direction. Okay, so yeah, a little different. I do like the breakdown of a quick, I mean, we know them, but like for anyone that's jumping into this, yeah, they do it in like a dark way. So,
what is up, Kenneth Bird? Good to see you, Kenneth. So a complaint I've heard before, and I don't know if it hit either one of you guys, is that the coloring style, the darkness, makes it look like Kitty Pryde might be black. Did anybody? No, are you still here? Did it? Whoop, and he's gone. I do know people that read this issue for the first time. And they're like, "Wait, is Kitty Pryde African American? Like, is she black?" Because
from that panel,
her skin is a lot darker, and they do up her hair extra curly. So I've seen people that said that they felt like it was like a change, and I didn't know if Chett could hear that.
Interesting.
But I remember people that have read this that were like, they make Kitty Pryde look like she might be African American. Like they make her look, her skin is a lot darker, and I've had people say like, I can't tell. So I don't know if anybody had that issue.
I see what you're talking about, but
because the coloring is very dark all the way through.
It didn't cross my mind.
Okay. When we know her, so as fans, we're like, no, it's not. It's just the art. But like, I know people that were like, wait, did I not understand that?
Yeah. She was standing in the danger room.
Yeah, yeah. She's standing with Ileana on the weekends. Chett, any thoughts here on this introduction to the team and all their abilities or anything?
No, I guess it's the regular run-of-the-mill short story cliff note version of who they are, what they can do.
Yeah.
And the introduction, before we get to the main course, so to speak. So that runs its course the same way every book, it seems, and we get the exact same wording. I guess we got a couple of different pictures and Kitty's new name.
And Wolverine destroying an engine, it looks like.
And yeah,
I don't know why they
crossed my mind, and I just said, I don't get it, but hey.
Yeah. What is up, Morbius? Thank you for the pre-gaming. I'm trying to pace myself here, but as I said earlier, Justin and I were on Morb's channel earlier. If you missed the talk, some great discussions going on over there, as always.
Yep.
Okay, so let's move along here. We jump to chapter 1. So this was all prologue. Now we get Kitty Pryde beating the snot out of somebody outside of Stevie Hunter's dance studio, because that's where breakdance fighting always happens. So let's just make fighting real. And she's popping this guy on the jaw, and he's popping her, and they're just back and forth. And it turns out this guy at the dance studio is a fan of Stryker's Crusade, and he's talking about how muties, as he says, are a big problem, and that he hates them. He doesn't clearly know that Kitty and Colossus are mutants, so he just thinks he's just running his mouth among friends or whatever. Stevie doesn't know quite what to do. Obviously, she's kind of caught in the middle, and Kitty Pryde drops the N-word. She's like, "Hey, calling me a mutie, would you feel okay if he drops the N-word on you?" And then that obviously shakes Stevie up a little bit for many different reasons. And in the end, they tell what's his name to hit the road, and Kitty Pryde gets frustrated that it went down this way, so she runs off. And Stevie feels like, I don't know that I handled that very well as the owner of this establishment. Then we've got across the street, sleazy white van and a couple of dudes with sunglasses at night and a walkie-talkie sending information back to Stryker's Crusade as to what's breaking down here. So did you remember Kitty Pryde dropping the N-word? Chett, did that
that was one of the biggest portions of this book,
right?
And I mean, once I saw it, I mean, back then it didn't feel the same as reading it now. I guess probably because I was 11, 12, whatever. But for the most part, reading it now, I mean, it's like it has a different feel,
right?
And to know that it was written so long ago, it's like, wow. That's she made a great comparison. I mean, and it's literally what the X-Men is based on. So I thought that was 100% accurate and necessary for this book especially.
Sure.
Yeah. I found it interesting that I read this digitally too, and the digital version is actually bleeped out. Actually,
See, I figured that. I was going to ask that too because I never read it. I just bought it and put it in bags and put it to die.
I'll double check.
It
is not
omnibus.
It is not.
No, the omnibus has it. Right,
it's
the omnibus
not
has
out.
It. Oh yeah, and in there
in the original.
I thought maybe it'd be blanked in the omnibus too, but it is
because it's a recent printing. You think?
Yeah.
Maybe. Because this is from the Marvel Unlimited app, and it is bleeped out there.
Yeah. And I agree that I feel like all the adults here kind of mishandle this.
Sure.
I mean, especially you got this dude who's punching Kitty in the face, like, and Peter's there. Like, I don't know how he doesn't, especially like feeling the way he feels about Kitty. Like anyone who lays their hands on her like that. I mean, at least to get a little physical with the kid, just to teach him a thing or two, like just to shove him or something. He doesn't even.
I thought in that sense, Justin, I hear what you're saying, but she had him on the floor and she was ready to wreck him.
No, she was holding her own.
She got distracted and
totally. But still, if I like just seeing, Kitty punch in the face, I mean, that was a cheap shot, essentially. And even with that, like if I was
with a little iron thump.
Yeah, like if I was Peter, I mean, if I was just there, like, I definitely would have probably been a little bit more tougher on the kid than
right.
Now I know, Peter's a more peaceful guy too. Not saying that I'm not, but I know that's how he handles things per se. But I am a little surprised that he didn't do as much.
What is it, Paul from Back to Back Issues? What is going on, Paul?
Big Paul.
All right, so let's continue along here. We move to the mansion where Kitty's trying to explain how she got a shiner to Wolverine, and he's just wants to know, did you beat up the other guy? How'd you do? Did you kick his butt? Like, why didn't you kick his butt? And then
her answer is,
her answer is, I mean, I guess I could have done better. I don't have your instincts. And he's all, that's it. She's like, so she scoots off to get changed for the big event tonight, which is a news interview between Xavier and William Stryker. They're going to debate the current state of mutants in the United States. It does not go well. Xavier is trying to create a logical argument about what's going on here. Stryker is appealing to fear, and he is trying to instill the audience with enough fear to bring them to his faith. This is more successful than Xavier, and in the end, our characters in the mansion feel like they just got beaten up in the news media. So they decide to gear up and go jump into the danger room and go for a fight instead. And meanwhile, back at the studio, Cyclops and Storm, who were there to escort Xavier, are bumping into the entourage of Stryker and not realizing that as nefarious as his words are, he's got some pretty devious plans ahead. Mm-hmm. A lot of stuff going on here, Justin. What were some of your thoughts going on here? Yeah,
so definitely frustrated with the whole news scene, which, by the way, I thought you were going to play your intro because that would have been like, coming to you live. But yeah, so definitely, frustrating with the news thing and especially like obviously Professor X not being able to get in his side of the story, essentially. So, that in itself was, pissed me off, but like and the fact that everyone else is sitting at home watching this, like, I love the couch scenes that they're all just kind of reacting in their own ways and handling it kind of in their own ways. But that was definitely and then what was the other thing? The I'm jumping ahead of myself. I'll pass it to
Chett. Chett, any thoughts on the news? There's some great comments being made about firstly, news media, right? But also about the public and how they consume news media, the power of fear over logic when
Yes.
it comes to political perspectives, right?
Yeah, and Cyclops says that that's why Professor X. It didn't look like he was going to win that debate in any way, shape, or form.
Right.
This guy's playing on religious fanatic belief and fear, and oh my God, these people are dangerous.
Yep.
The X-Men are playing it as harmonious, and Professor X is trying to say mutants and humans together, and blah blah blah. It doesn't work on the big screen, obviously, and I think what gets me the most in all of this is anytime Professor X says anything, they go Stryker with his religious quote from whatever
The
Bible he's
Bible,
using, and it's all over this, and it's just so fanatical. And this woman, Annie, she made me sick from the very beginning of the book.
His assistant or whatever.
Yeah, she's like a psycho.
Yeah, I mean, you see her murder 2 kids in the first panels, right?
Yeah, string them up, no big deal. And that's who she is from the beginning of this book all the way through it. And hey, good job, Stryker, brainwashing her or whatever it is. But she's a loyal follower of the guy, and she's going to go to any extreme he's going to go to, apparently, just to get to achieve the cause. So great stuff. That's the way I see it. Is it well placed?
John says, "Isn't Kitty Pryde one of the Jewish characters in Marvel?" She is, in fact, and her religious faith never actually plays in this story. But I do think it's an interesting part of kind of why she is not so easily taken in by what's going on, or maybe more aware of what's happening, right?
Mm-hmm.
So let's move along here a little bit. The Danger Room. We jump in. Everybody's trying to test themselves both as individuals and as a team member. It's really just a fun way to show some action here in the story, which is somewhat action light here to get started. Any thoughts here on the Danger Room, Justin? We get some Danger Room fighting.
Yeah, this is the part that I was going to mention. Like, I really enjoyed this part, and one of the reasons why is I like the detail of them really having to strategize on what they're going to do. As a reader, it took you completely out of kind of the darker scenario that we were just in to now, again, action and everything else. But I also I liked that they kind of showed the puzzle. Everybody had their own like nemesis or thing that they had to beat. And then it showed them all like working as a team to figure out like, oh, let me take on your robot, and you take on this aspect of it. You go free, Wolverine, all these other things that would like work out. I just like that they took time to like do that, and I think they did it well within 2 pages. I think it was done really. It didn't drag on too much. They explained the details, kind of the scenario, what happened or what was going on. I like
what their powers can do.
Yeah, like it just gave you a second to like exercise the idea of what their abilities are, and then again to just see them as a team, and then also just feel what they're feeling, because yes, they are at the same time getting frustration out, based on the current events that have happened. So I enjoyed these panels.
Now, Chett, I know you're a big Colossus fan. I freaking love that panel with the rocket blasting off of it. That's so freaking good.
It's well drawn. I mean, we like our Colossus pictures pretty much like this. Usually we get them a little bigger.
Right.
But other than
he's a slimmer version in this.
You're right.
I just like, as long as it's detailed enough to understand how he's built.
Right.
I love the way they drew this. But overall, on the grand scale, I love this. Like Justin said, these panels are great. We get to see the interaction of their powers, alternate ways of figuring things out. But my problem with this, how is Kitty the mastermind behind all this?
She does seem to be leading the team. I don't know where Cyclops is. He's up in the booth.
I would expect Wolverine or Nightcrawler even, but I guess she's a young kid and has it all figured out.
She's smart. She's smart. Yeah, no, that's a good point though. I mean, Wolverine was still kind of like he was hard-headed, in this. I mean, he even admits, right? He even says like, "Wow, why didn't I think of that?" Like, you would think he was a little bit further ahead in that, but
I guess we also got a little bit of the extent of Nightcrawler's power in this book all around. We hadn't really seen him do too much of anything, I guess, with the Brood we did, right?
Yeah.
But this is him trying to move a big chunky piece of machinery. So
total
fail
for sure. So after their exercise, we jump back across town where Xavier, Cyclops, and Storm are on their way back from the event. They're being tailed by Stryker's strike force, who attack the car, blast it off of the road, and then when our heroes come out of the car, they shoot them all. Just bang, 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 kapow, drop them all like rocks. Was anybody legitimately worried that they just killed them all here? Was everybody like, well, they're going to be all right? But like it's pretty, it looks like a legit gun, a legit bullet, and legit headshots for all three of them.
Yeah, if they're going to die, they're going to die in the title, the ongoing title. They ain't dying in no graphic novel.
Well, I will say though, no, you're right though. The artwork definitely does a great job of showing a bullet to the head. Essentially, is what it's looking like for Scott there. His glasses being knocked down on on the far page there. I think that's really well done. And if they didn't say anything with after a few more panels, I might have started to question like, is that it? Like because they do clarify like pretty quick. But yeah, I do. I think the effects were awesome, and I love this car crash is like so unique, so different in terms of what you picture in a car crash, and well done in the usage of the room or the space that that it had. But I just thought that was really different, type of illustration there for that.
Well said. Yeah, the seeing the car in three phases as it goes off the road, really cool.
I think the panel right underneath that with Scott blasting out is really cool too.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think, definitely. Brent does a great job with that, like with Cyclops's optic blasts. They come out really cool in this.
By the way, nicely done with the gifts, because I was curious. Obviously, this is a dark issue, so I was wondering like how light you'd be able to kind of make it, and this is a good level of it.
Are we doing all right?
Like, I mean,
I'm still a fan of Stryker. Like,
yes, that one is great. Yeah.
I had to go with Airplane on that one. I had to go with it. So now we get back after the danger room. Phone rings. Nightcrawler's like, "Hey, is it going to be my hottie?" No, turns out everybody that is in charge of this team is dead. All the people who are in charge are all dead. Shocking twist. Kitty goes out with Ilyana outside, and they're like, "This is really sad. I'm talking about being sad. Everybody's dead." And then Ilyana's like, "Hey, did you see that robot over there? I wanted to show you this robot." What? There's a robot? Like, why did you tell anybody that there was a robot over here? Yeah, there's a robot. Oh, okay. So they go and look at it, and Kitty's like, that's a robot. Yeah, that's why. I don't know why it's here. You really should have told somebody before I came out here to cry, but okay. I'm glad you told me now. Did I miss anything there, Justin?
That's pretty well said. I really like the artwork, especially like seeing Kitty Pryde where the top middle where she's crying with the colors and all of that. Really well done. And even the panels right below it. Again, when I read this digitally, just seeing one individual panel go through as it told the story between her and Ilyana, talking and hugging it out like that. I love the colors and everything. The artwork was just really well done. I also like the you see Kurt here with a big smile as he answers and then a really sad face. I just realized that would be a great meme right there, taking those two pictures. So we'll have to do that later for like a happy sad moment. Yeah.
Well done, Justin.
Yeah.
Any thoughts here, Chett? Should I keep going?
It's pretty sad, actually. After the shooting and the whole bit, seeing Kurt, and then like even the font gets smaller.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, it's pretty sad to see what Kitty goes through and everything. The art is pretty on point. Yeah, the hug between her and Ilyana is pretty cool. Mm-hmm. So, and them discovering the robot and what its purpose is and everything is.
Yeah, let's move on. So Kitty decides she's going to destroy the robot, and then they're going to hide and wait for whoever is in charge of this robot to come fix it. Right?
Terrible idea.
She can phase through it, so she phases through it. While they're waiting, Wolverine and Cyclops decide with Nightcrawler they're going to investigate the crash. Cops don't know what they're looking for. Wolverine's going to sniff it all out. He sniffs it out and says, "Nope, they didn't die here. This was staged. I've staged a lot of car wreck, burn, murders." Apparently, he says, "I know this was staged. It's not real." And while they're doing it, their whole plan was to make sure that they were noticed. And while they're out there, Nightcrawler is watching their car to see if anybody checks on their car. These guys from the Crusade check on their car, and then he radios in and says, guys, this is they're right now. You got to check that car. They're watching us. So Wolverine, Nightcrawler, Colossus, they hit this car. They hit it really hard. So hard, Colossus just rips the engine right out of it. Thankfully, Nightcrawler pulled the gal out before that happened. Wolverine slashed the door to pieces. Very exciting sequence here. Obviously, I know Chett was like, yeah, Colossus.
Yeah, it really was.
That car up.
Very easy to figure out. Yeah, I totally was. When I saw that panel with him in the engine, I was like, oh, yeah. Right? I didn't like the next few panels, though, because it was kind of messed me up.
Justin, I think this is a really clever ploy on their part. They're without their typical leadership, but they came up with a whole strategy to figure out who these people were.
Yeah, no, I thought this was really well done. This was, and as we go into the next set of panels, like really wild stuff. I wanted to go back for a sec with
sure.
The idea with Kitty Pryde. No, still on these pages.
Okay.
But the first like set of panels here, the idea where they're hiding. I think that's a terrible idea. That Kitty and Illyana's like, let's just handle this ourselves. We're gonna hide here. We're gonna see who shows up. We'll handle it from here. That could have been Juggernaut. Like I don't know. Like it could have been like I don't. It's not you got to at least notify your team. I think that
I do think that it's the same mistake Illyana made. She didn't tell anybody she saw the robot. Now they're both not telling.
Now they're right. Yeah, they're not.
Let's both not do it.
It's safe to say that these two teenage girls didn't follow the rule. If you see something wrong, you go, you run, and you tell. You don't sit around and say, "We got this."
See something, say something.
Yeah, there you go.
Come on, guys. Fair point.
Very fair point.
So the next page shows Colossus. He's smiling over the burning wreck, holding the engine, but he's like. Nightcrawler's like, dude, behind you, the guy in the giant suit. Colossus doesn't see it. He gets blasted. These guys are clearly in uniforms that are designed to help them battle mutants. And just when they think they've got it sewed together, Magneto's like, no, you don't. You're wearing there's metal everywhere. You guys are hosed. And he cocoons these guys. He just takes their suits, the wrecked car, and he cocoons them. And he's like, we'll take these guys back. We'll talk to them later. This is a Magneto-focused issue in a lot of ways. I feel like Magneto and Kitty Pryde get a ton of great moments here. Cutting back to Kitty and Illyana hiding. Kitty's like, this is really boring. People are coming, but I'm going to go underground and look around a little bit. So she goes underground to look around a little bit. And, of course, Illyana gets spotted because she's like, blonde girl hiding in the reeds there. They shoot Illyana. And Kitty's like, oh, I probably should not have left her alone because she has no powers to protect her at all. And they decide they're going to take Kitty with them and that this is just a stun gun. Despite looking exactly like Han Solo's blaster, they stunned her and they're going to take her back and throw her in their car. And Kitty's like, I should hide in the back of their car.
And there goes Angry Annie again.
Yeah, Annie got her gun. She's going to town here. I'm going to ask first, Chett. Obviously, Magneto is a badass in this book.
Yeah.
This is a great moment for him, right?
He's always been about the protection and preservation of mutant kind. These people are everything he wants away and gone and done away with. I mean, it's making him, what's the saying? Magneto was right. It's the bottom line. If it's about mutantdom and him protecting them, he's going to go to every cost, especially if they're being exterminated like this. So, this is a big book for him as well because it hits home for him in a lot of ways. So, Totally. He talks about loss. He talks about his losses and, how they've affected him. And he doesn't want any more loss, apparently. Right. So, I dig every last part of this book. So,
Justin, you mentioned Illyana and Kitty and their failed strategy to solve this robot problem. Are you okay here?
Yeah. So I do like that they showed this kind of newer idea for her ability to go underground, and they even describe it as it's like swimming essentially. So we haven't really seen that before. We know that she can go through levels of floors and things like that and everything else. Just but it is a concept that didn't really cross my mind until I saw that, where I'm like, okay, yeah, like that makes sense. She should be able to even go underground and then travel through underground. But I like that it gave the description of like feeling like as if you're swimming kind of thing. So just a cool little aspect there for her abilities. I also really like, well, one, these guys rocking the whitey tighties before they get all strapped up. And then on the far side, the panel with Anne, was it Anne or Anna?
Annie. And there's three guns in a row.
Yeah. So when I read this digitally, it looks so cool to just see the close up of the gun and then like larger and then her standing there and you get the bam. Like
and each one kind of overlaps the next one.
Yeah. It's like it's dark, man. And just like it's such a creative way to really emphasize a gunshot. Like, you know, and you know, sad that she's, you know, targeting, you know, a young girl and
for sure
one who we love, Ileana. So, pretty wild stuff. And then, as you said, she tries to jump in the back trunk, but I don't know if that really works out too well.
What's up, Dio? What's going on? Good to see you. Oh yeah, God, yeah, Dio Wolf.
I was thinking the metal band, but yeah.
I was thinking Ronnie J. Vio.
Yeah, Ronnie J.
There you go.
The last in line, baby.
All right, so she's hiding in the trunk, and Annie's like, "Oh, we have sensors. There's somebody in our trunk. I wonder who it is." All right, let's gas them. We got nerve gas. Not only do we have a sensor to see if something's in our trunk when we don't want it, which apparently is a thing. Also, we've got nerve gas at the ready to gas the person who happens to sneak into the trunk. So they gas Kitty and take off. Meanwhile, back at the mansion, Wolverine is going to interrogate the cocooned guys by basically stabbing them with his claws. Magneto's like, "You suck at this. I got it." And he basically just goes about torturing both of them by using the metal and their very vulnerable physiques to torture them and get all the information out of them. That panel where he's like basically dissecting the guy, Justin, when you got to that panel, you were like, dang.
Amazing. Like I need that as a massive poster on my wall. Like that. It's incredible. It's so well done. And it just shows his ability in such a way that we have not really seen prior to this. You know, they've illustrated it in certain ways, you know, throughout the series, but I think this is just so wicked, you know, the like thunder almost coming from his fingertips there, like just awesomeness all around. So yeah, that was wild.
So now Chett, I kind of, my favorite part about this is kind of like Wolverine getting like shown up, right?
He should be better at interrogation than this. Anyway, he spends his life in the Canadian military, basically. I mean, come on, he's seen a lot. He should be better at this. But Magneto, based on his skill set and his power set, what's going on with that guy? I mean, he can control the iron in your blood and everything else. So whatever he's doing to this guy, it definitely made him sing like a canary. It must be the most painful thing this guy is going through right there. Great panel, and it makes me think. It might give me a little bit of a foreshadow to what he does to Wolverine later on. Remember that?
Oh yes, I just posted those 90s books the other day.
That's what basically makes me think of that. So it obviously just came first. So
yes, indeed.
Sneak peek, perhaps.
Absolutely. Great.
By the way, the lighting too on this, I should point out too, like the lighting kind of coming from his stomach or chest, like the glow up to his face, and just seeing the shadows over his shoulders and stuff like that. Like it almost, and actually the metals around it almost looks like Venom. You know, almost looks like a symbiote. Nice. You know, kind of vibe. You know, the way it's like wrapping around.
Yeah. Nice.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so moving along, we jump to Xavier, who is having some strange visions. He knows he's in Manhattan somewhere. He knows that he's still in New York, but he sees all his former children, all his former mutants, and they're all blaming him for their lives and basically trying to torture him in some way. And then it's almost like God comes to talk to him and beg him to see things their way, to come to God. And I'm going to go to the next page, but we can go back if you guys need. Turns out he's in like a tank underwater, and they're using machinery to try to manipulate his abilities. They've also got Cyclops and Storm in similar tanks, and the proximity is such that he is feeding off of their memories as well, using all of this stuff. They open those tanks up, and Cyclops and Storm are like, dude, why do you suck so bad? And he's like, well, let me tell you. I was in the military. My wife and I were in a car crash, and she was in the middle of giving birth, apparently, when the car crash happened. Baby came out and was weird looking. So I killed the baby, and my wife was like,
be back in the fire.
My wife's like, where's the baby? And I was like, I'll kill you too. It kills her. And then I'm going to just blow everybody up. So I blow up my car. Turns out I just got blown free of the blast. I was perfectly fine. They take me to the medical office, and I got all better, but not so much in the dome. I've then vowed to make killing mutants my mission in life. Holy hero or villain monologue here, Batman. Chett, were you like, wait, what is this guy's backstory?
I'm gonna be honest. I didn't remember. I remembered the story. I just didn't remember exactly how. And I knew he had to kill the kid, but reading it again, I was like, "Damn, he killed his baby.
Yeah.
Then he held his wife close, and she asked the baby and kills her.
Yeah.
Grabs everybody and said, let's get back in our car. Oh wait, let's light the car aflame so we can blow up. Damn, I lived.
Yeah.
Now I got to make it my mission to go after mutants. I mean, this guy's brutal. I mean,
he jumps the shark big time here.
Well, like we say it all. Like Chris Claremont can write, but this is very cinematic and down to the core. That's why we love Chris Claremont.
Mm-hmm. Justin, were you reading this going like, whoa? this guy's serious.
Yeah, like this escalated very quickly. Like one, I like that the as it's telling the story, and similar to the pages prior to this, I like that the background changes, so you can tell you're in this kind of recap, of what was going on.
Candace says the exact same thing. The sepia color.
Yes, absolutely. And so that mixed with you get some of the him quoting the Bible and everything else again, and
that bright red that we had on the previous pages, right?
I want to talk about this in a sec, because this is definitely a big part. But with what he does at the end, so he tries to commit suicide, right? Essentially, is what I took from that. Okay, so he's basically so upset that his child is what he thinks is deformed, a mutant,
monster.
He doesn't want to have it. Yeah, a monster. And so basically, between his child and his wife, and then even himself, as I guess he felt like a failure or I don't know what, decides to just it is so heavy. Like that was a mindset going on there. So that was insane. And then going back to this, the pages prior to this, between these two panels that you have here, John, these two sets of slides, I should say, to me was like the point in which I was just like, all right, this book is hitting on every level. It has everything in one book. And so the slide that you had before this with the flashback to Professor X, like love the horror vibes, like complete nightmare, and in a way that is like really dark. I mean, like you're reading this at home, at night, like alone, like you're gonna have nightmares, like reading this kind of thing. And I love that you got to see like some of the abilities come out within. So when he's on the cross, seeing like Kitty Pryde like kind of come through his chest there, and like almost like vampire like, and like kisses him on the cheek,
pulls his heart out.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's right. He pulls his heart out, then he kisses him on the cheek. And then even like Storm's face, in the middle panels there, just like evil, and of course after we just came off of reading about Vampire Storm and all this other stuff, I'm like, man, what a nightmare. And the dark reds, the blacks, and everything else, and the color usage reminded me so much of like I mean, the current stuff that I'm reading now with Philadelphia, I know we're breaking down later, you know, got the vibes of that too at the same time. And I think that
Sounds
far,
scary.
you should, Chett. And that far image of Xavier, I think is to your point, John, from that front, the cover is Xavier like screaming.
Yeah, the screaming face.
Kind of replicating
it's supposed to kind of bleed to like the one on this page where you see him underwater.
Yep. So it's well done. And I love the evil plan that he has behind it. I mean, obviously it's bad, but it's just like clever that this is his plan.
Gore says it's a great backstory. I've personally known men who blame their partners for such things like a deformed child at birth, things like that. Yeah, it's crazy. Chett, did this? Are you okay? You recovered?
Yeah. Well, you know what? You got the bright side of the X-Men for 170 issues, basically, right?
Right.
Now that we're getting into the serious realm of, like, I guess, reality and all its likes and dislikes, we're seeing inside the head of Professor X and the other side, the evil side of those mutants we've been following for so long, inside of his head. I love it. I mean, they've got the crucifix and everything for him. They've got him bitten. They've dragged his heart out. They tell him they love him by getting a kiss from Kitty. Wolverine slices him up, ashes to ashes, dust to dust with Storm. I mean, she fries him. And it's all in his head. And it's all coming from them that we find out, I guess, in terms of what's being fed to the professor by Storm and Cyclops through this machinery that Stryker's got. But those panels are creepy completely. They're saying a lot. And I guess, like I said before, it reminds me a lot of, I guess they dragged a lot of X-Men 2.
So, I was going to bring that up. Yeah.
Directly from this book in several instances.
There's a lot of sequences that are clearly being pulled. They went more military than religious, as far as the Stryker character. But a ton of stuff. Whether it was manipulating Xavier through psychic means, they used a mutant kid versus the Stryker's kid versus like the machinery.
Right. We still get the
ton of that stuff.
Right. I agree.
For sure. Good. Well said. Well said.
Thank you.
So then Stryker gives his monologue and then he's like, I gotta go get some coffee and sandwiches because we got a big event coming up later. Put those guys back on ice. I'll finish monologuing with them later. Storm tries to get off some lightning before going down, and everybody's like, oh, there's some storms going. But no big deal, just go about the day. Then they decide, you know what, Kitty's in our trunk. She's been nerve gassed. Let's just blast a bunch of holes in it. By the way, they're driving around in a car that says Muty on the trunk. Whatever. That's their car.
I guess in this day and age, that wouldn't happen, right?
That's their car. Yeah, they put that on their own car. Just, a little on the nose, maybe.
That's a good point.
It reminds me of a scene in the movie, I think it's Out of Sight, where the FBI guy shows up with a big shirt that says FBI on it. And the guy's like, do you have one that says undercover?
Wow.
So, they shoot the car. They pop the hood, the trunk open, and there's no Kitty Pryde. They're like, what happened? And they're like, oh, there she goes. She's over there. Like, oh, crap. She got away. So then they start chasing her. She monologues or, thinks over how, oh, I saw the nerve gas coming. I phased, but it still got me a little bit. I'm dazed. I need some help. She finds these guys on the corner here looking a little bit like, what was that movie? It's not The Outsiders.
The Warriors?
The Warriors, yes.
Yeah.
She finds the Warriors coming to play.
That's definitely the Warriors.
And those guys are like, no, we're not here to help you, but we'll beat you up. We'll take you back home as a prize. And then Annie shows up with her gun. She's like, nope, she's mine first. Like, you back off. And then, of course, this is when, to Justin's point, this is going to escalate. People are throwing knives. People are getting shot. Things are getting crazy. Annie takes a wound. Yeah. Everybody's freaking out. Kitty's like, I got to phase out of this joint. I got to run. I got to find a
great
payphone.
Panel.
She uses her payphone, her skill to go in and get coins out of the payphone and call the mansion. She's like, help, help, help. Kurt answers. She's like, Kurt, I'm in deep weeds. Boom. The whole thing blows up. This is exciting stuff here, Justin. Like, it's back to back to back drama.
It's a movie. It is a movie. And it's so well done. I think that's like the other thing too, like to add is just like, I feel like the pacing of everything, it's not, nothing's like forced. It's just like story after story that we get on this, and it all builds like so well. And again, just mentioning before, like when I just realized that this was just hitting on every level, had everything for any reader. Like it's such a powerful story. And I understand why, as you said, this might be your number one book of all books. So yeah, seeing some of this story again, very scary stuff that Kitty has to go through here. Like she could have gotten, killed or raped or whatever these guys had plans for. They're dangerous. And I find it interesting that the other girl, Annie, has come and kind of was like the hero in a sense for like a second. What is it? The saying of like, my enemy's enemy is my friend or something like that. Kind of like
the enemy of my enemy is my friend. Yeah.
Like it kind of worked out for Kitty that, Annie was, her priority was, getting Kitty herself. So it kind of saved her. Also the bullet point or the bullet, or the gun firing.
I was waiting for you to say it.
Yeah, like it's just so well done, man. It looks so like scary, real. How like these heads just snap back and everything. So man, this whole thing is so great, man.
Justin, take a look at. I'm sorry, John. I was saying, take a look at the panel after the gunshot. Look at the lights and the shadows.
Oh yeah.
It's all black behind
the car, right?
Yeah,
or wherever that's going. Yeah, yep. So well done, man. The art's insane here. Kitty Pryde going through the wall too in that scene.
Yes.
That's exactly where I was going.
Yeah.
Well, and taking the money out of the payphone and then
so good.
So clever. I love it.
So good.
Yeah.
Some comments here. Gore says you can see even in the reader's mind and Magneto's that the seeds of the final solution, right? Are all here. Candace says, I definitely didn't feel like my copy was missing pages. The storytelling is phenomenal for this one.
Yeah, agreed.
Gore says the film aspect is a credit to Brett Anderson, who around the same time drew a brilliant mystery miniseries called Somerset Holmes, which he hoped would be picked up for a film studio. There you go.
Nice.
That's great information.
Yeah, very cool.
Gore's always got the info.
It's good stuff, Gore. Thank you.
Then we see Kitty phasing out of that dangerous situation, trying to escape, makes her way to an elevated train, sneaks on board, and everybody's like, what is happening? This reminded me a little of The Fugitive, where we have a police officer and he's in the midst of Harrison Ford being chased by the one-armed man and they're getting caught in the middle. Here we have Kitty hoping these police officers will help her. She's like, hey, I'll help, I'm being chased. And the bad guys show up and they're like, no, we'll shoot the cops too. We don't care. We can kill everybody who gets in our way.
Can I say something, John?
Yeah.
That scene where Kitty's out in the street, she tells Nightcrawler where she is. And she says she's in the Bronx. And I know she gives like
a bodega, like
bodega.
But
it's I think she said Colson, Rusher Avenue. Now that's literally like
Rusher Street. Yeah, Rusher Street near Colson.
Right. So that's literally like 1 mile from like Yankee Stadium. So it gives you I mean, that's that type of area, literally. Or it has been in the past. I haven't been over there because I don't plan on going to Yankee Stadium.
And we're gonna go this year, man. Me and you, we're gonna go.
I'm very thankful that Justin's hat is turned backwards. But yeah, dangerous area. The train over there, I think, is the 4 train. I believe it's the 4 train. So I believe that's where she elevated onto. So that's that line.
I like the accuracy of locations and things like that. Even as I know we haven't got there yet, but like the garden, things like that. Like I love that it really brings it to life, these locations, which is cool. So yeah, good call there.
No
and
problem.
Then, of course, this whole thing is interrupted just when Kitty's about to be shot by Magneto doing another hero role into this comic.
He's just flexing the entire
time. I had to pick 3 Michael Fassbender moments. Where he's like, I'm going to break that guy. I'm going to launch that guy. I'm going to take all your guns. I'm going to shoot you with all of them. It's basically what he does here. He not only like strips the guys of their weapons, but then he like floats the entire train car up into the air as like a, what are you going to do? You have no power over me. Takes the guns, takes the bullets, and flies off. Then the X-Men all show up. They beat the snot out of these guys. And they're like, wait, I'll pull the bullet out of that guy. We'll get him to a hospital. I'm going to make a flying carpet. We're going to fly off like freaking Aladdin here. This is just all amazing.
Fly off like Aladdin.
Does, man.
It's pretty accurate. Yeah, it's pretty accurate.
Whole new world.
But you notice, hold on. Yeah. That's metal he's on. There's no force bubble needed.
Yeah,
it's not a wagon. I totally agree. It's not a big piece of wood. It makes way more sense here. Shout out Brett Eric Anderson. Um, we also then get another little moment of Xavier's mind being sort of manipulated by Stryker, and Stryker trying to convince him that he is a savior and that Xavier is a problem and that he needs to use his power to kill Cyclops and Storm. And he seems to do it. He seems to sort of blast them in their little metal cocoon things and follow Stryker's orders. Any thoughts here? Obviously, it's great to see the mutants all coming together. Magneto leading the team. Even Kitty's like, what is this guy doing here? We hate this guy.
It is great. It is cool to like see them all team up, you know,
which happens in X2. Magneto comes to the rescue of the team when they're without Xavier. He pulls the Blackbird out of the sky and he's like, "Come on, guys, I got you.
Yes,
you need me right now. You need me."
Oh man! All right, I'm going to watch X2 after this again.
It's such a good movie. And it's a really solid adaptation.
I never realized till tonight how
close.
it's like parallel.
Yeah,
and I mean, but. I got to say this. I mean, up till now, we've only ever really gotten Magneto as an enemy, right?
It's true.
And
this
so
was part of
this
the process of Claremont humanizing him. We saw the like flashback issue with Xavier and Magneto learning their history and maybe a little sympathy for the devil there. But this, I think, is the bigger step.
Right. This is basically a team up, and we've never seen that before in terms of modern Magneto. Everything was always kill the X-Men no matter what. So
correct.
The change up is coming.
Yep.
Big time.
Also, Candace, I love, says she heard a whole new world in her head. That part, I totally did. I totally did.
Also, love Colossus there ripping this guy's like armor off, and
and then hoisting him up.
More whitey tighties again. Just
sure.
Yeah, the guy's just chilling there. Poor guy.
Popular in the early 80s.
Yes, yeah.
Nightcrawler, where'd you go? Rikers Island.
He bamfed that guy all the way to Rikers Island prison and then bamfed back. Covered some ground
awesome
there.
Reading
Covered
that.
some ground. Yep.
Yeah.
Then they decide, we got to throw these dead bodies out. Now that Cyclops and Wolverine are dead, let's throw them in the thing and throw them out. Meanwhile, the X-Men are trying to break in. Ariel and Nightcrawler are torturing the like head doctor of the Stryker crusade to try to learn what their evil plan really is. And then they decide that they need to rescue our main characters by yet again another Magneto roll. He basically rips the entire elevator out of the building and flies it over to where they are to like free our heroes, only to learn no, they're not actually dead. They were just put into a really close near-death state by Xavier as a way of avoiding the mental trauma that he's going through with Stryker. And
but that's a good move by Xavier.
Only person who can save him yet again. It's Magneto to the rescue. A little jolt to the heart brings them out of their coma, and he gets to do a little monologuing all at the same time. I had to include his quote. I think it's from X2 where he says, no, it's X1. You Homo sapiens and your guns.
Yeah.
Love
so
it.
Good.
Justin, any thoughts here on Magneto? He's just the star of this, man. He's a boss.
Completely owning. Yeah. No, for sure. I mean, I love every flex that he's able to do here in this entire thing. I actually thought you were going to have a gif of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory when they shoot out from the elevator, ceiling. But yeah, so the other thing that I want to point out here on the second page there is where I remembered that, Storm and Cyclops, they, quote unquote die, but I could not remember like how or like what really happened. So I like that they, I was reminded of that here. And I like that there's like respect shown from Magneto when he points out and says like, wow, I didn't realize, Xavier, he must have been holding back, all this stuff. Like he's much more powerful than he kind of leads on to. So I like that there was like that kind of like, muscle check for Magneto to just be like, all right, yeah, like Xavier, he's got some power too, enough and smartness to just like have this stage the way it was. So yeah, really cool that they were able to, you know, bring them back, and you know, happy that they're not dead.
I guess Bobby agrees. What's up, Bobby?
Yes.
He says,
Really
yes, it's the
Bobby?
Great Class Elevator right there.
Yeah.
I don't see Onslaught in this issue yet, but we definitely do get we definitely get some love for the Cerebro here in just a little bit. And did I miss anybody else? I think everybody else who said hello to. So thanks everybody for coming by.
Yep.
Core says Classic X-Men 12 reprinted 104 and Magneto, and it includes a Claremont Bolton story set in Paris after 104's event, where Magneto deals with traumatic memories of the war, including a horrible death.
Oh, see, I need to get those. I need to collect all those classics.
He's definitely right. I wouldn't have remembered that unless he said it. I know the book because I own that series, but yeah.
Nice.
Very good call.
Nice. Love it. Gore in the chat laying it out. Okay, so then we go back. It's time for the big event. Stryker is like, everybody's telling him, you know what? I think the mutants escaped. They might be a problem. He's like, no, I have got a performance to put on. It is time for me to get in front of my audience. Political people are here. Fans are here. Cops are here. Humans are here. We need to put on a big show here. A lot of villain monologuing stuff going on here, leading to him putting on this big performance and really getting in front of the audience. And then another amazing Magneto roll
Flex.
He is the big distraction so that our X-Men characters can sort of break in and hopefully free Xavier. So he is coming through the ceiling. He's like, nope, no auditorium's going to hold me back. I'm going to fly myself right in here. This may be my favorite panel in the book here, is the Stryker, and he comes flying in the middle of the thing. So Justin, we like, nobody holds Magneto back.
Yes, yeah. This is just so incredible, man. The lightning coming out from him and everything. Yeah, we also see a little bit of the psychoness, you know, and I know we talked about this backstage, but just like the religious talk that Stryker has, and how he even says here, you know, as Annie's trying to warn him, and he just says, "There are a handful of children, Annie, and I am a servant of the Lord. What can they do to stop me?" And you know, and he does refer to himself as the servant of the Lord, doing the Lord's work, like several times through even just these few pages here towards the back end of this issue. And it's like he's like, I mean, the way he's saying it and the way he's using it, you know, and yet he's so violent and vicious. It is so scary. It's really scary.
Yeah, he's clearly feels justified by his faith.
Yeah,
to do whatever he thinks he needs to do.
Extreme,
right?
Yeah.
He's twisted his belief system around completely.
Right.
Chett, any thought here on the X-Men's plan and Magneto coming yet again, rolling to the rescue?
Good plan. They all have to find a way to stop the professor at this point, though. So Stryker is pretty much in complete control here. So you've got two levels of attacks: the X-Men taking out the henchmen, and while Magneto's trying to, I guess, get rid of Stryker and knock the professor out of whatever days he's got him under.
Yes.
Nice set of bunch of panels here.
Yeah.
Especially that, you're right, that Magneto one, it's got the glow and all that.
The lightning seems to be like little sparks coming off of him.
Yeah, but if he opens the garden roof and puts it back together.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, that's got to be the most amazing thing I've ever seen Magneto do up to this point.
Yeah.
Sure.
Comics, or at any point in the comics.
Yeah. I wish I was at the garden that night.
Well, me too.
I've been there for Billy Joel, but I've never been there for Magneto. Like, that's just, I got to
honestly,
at the garden.
Even with all of that, the power and whatever, this stupid Stryker and his "I am God's chosen one" and blah 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 rants and fanatical BS all over this book.
Yep.
So he's basically still in control.
Right.
Yeah.
To this point.
Shout out to the mutant kid with the Star Wars shirt too, by the way.
Yeah. So I was going to raise that up. Like they're using Xavier, and I wanted to. There's no real great close up panels that I could find, but like, the idea is Xavier's wearing a Cerebro-esque tool, much like the plot of X2, and it's being utilized to kill or damage anybody with a mutant gene.
Right.
And so people out in the street, people in the audience, people on stage, our main characters are all starting to get the nosebleeds, the bleeding ears, the painful headaches of Xavier harming them. And he even blasts Magneto out of the sky with a psi blast that nearly disables him. And the whole time that, Stryker's continuing his speech, even when Annie, his assistant all along, is like,
oh, my nose.
I got a nosebleed. What does that mean? He's like,
she went into Marsha Brady mode.
Yeah.
Oh, my nose.
Which is, by the way, you would never, don't tell him that. Don't even tell him if it's true. Don't tell him that.
I'd be like, oh, what a coincidence. A nosebleed at this very
Think about
It's
it.
just
Remember?
really dry out. It's just really dry out. No, he's like, no,
Was it,
allergies. Allergies.
X2. It was X2 as well with Mystique and the Cure.
Yep.
I'm not one of you, and you're not one of us anymore. Later.
That's right.
That's basically what he's doing to Annie.
Yeah.
Well, he does that. He pushes her right off of the platform down below. He's like, yeah. And then she, of course, breaks her neck, freaking dies right there. He just kills her. I mean, we know he did that to his wife. He could do it to anybody.
Yep.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, he is.
Who are you, Annie? I killed my own wife and child.
So the X-Men are like, we need to figure out a way to get Xavier out of this thing. Wolverine comes up with a method where he's going to try to pretend to really hurt him. And at the last second, Cyclops is going to do this amazing ricochet blast that's going to break the device and free Xavier just when they need him to do it. And it's a success. And once he's out of the device, Cyclops, in a really great panel with that far side there, spins his head around and just destroys all the technology that they've got in the place.
That's awesome. I like that.
Hell yeah.
Great.
That too would be a great poster.
I was just thinking that would be awesome. That would be sick.
And shout out to Ryan with, Annie, are you okay? Are you okay, Annie?
You've been hit by a religious criminal.
Now you did it.
He's been sitting there on his keyboard waiting for us to get to this moment.
He's been so set. What is up, Toby? Good to see you, Toby. How's it going?
Mr. T.
Any thoughts here on these? Should I keep going with the drama here? How are we doing?
Just that panel of Annie breaking her neck there. It is really brutal, man.
Yes.
And I like that they showed these little round, really to focus on her fall, I guess is what that's illustrating.
Yeah.
I think it might be indicating that it was seen by everybody because look at the
television
camera
screens. Yeah.
Right behind her.
Yes.
So that was broadcast.
The camera operator is down below there, and he's following her fall down.
It's such a great idea for a set of panels, and then showing her at on that, where she's dead. It's dark, man. But I wasn't sure what to expect with this.
You're young, Justin. So let Chett and I tell you, TV screens used to actually have this funny shape to them. They were kind of bulbous, and they were not a perfect rectangle like maybe they are today.
See,
so those little shapes are the shape.
And the stomach of the TV was in the back of the TV.
This is why I told Old Wolf to speak for himself earlier.
Speaking of which, Old Wolf is here and he says, Chett says awesome. Funny. It's X-Men. Of course he says it's awesome.
Yeah, I get it.
And we're all shout out to Gore Vidal who says that classic X-Men is important X-Men, vital, necessary X-Men. I agree.
I'm adding it to the list. I do have a couple issues, but
I need to buy the omnibus ultimately. There is an omnibus out there. Really? I do think they're not printing it, so you're gonna have to go to eBay and pay the price, which is expensive. So.
I meant to ask you guys in terms of stuff that hasn't been printed and hasn't been seen. Did you guys ever catch on to that Elseworlds thing with John Byrne?
I did not. No, I've never read it.
I think I'm gonna pick it up. It's on eBay and it's the full volume of Elseworlds, so it's a few $100, but I think it might be worth it. It's John Byrne and this filling in of gaps from the era that we went through initially. So
that makes sense.
I won't get off track here. My bad.
Yeah, it's no good. No worries. The X-Men decide they're not going to run. They're going to face the accuser.
Randy.
They get up there and they're like, dude, I can't believe you did this to us. Cyclops with a big speech about how you're just here to kill people. You're twisting religion to your needs. And he's like, what? Look at that thing. That guy's a freak. Look at he's blue. He's got a tail. His toes are all weird. I'm going to shoot him. So he pulls out a gun. He's like, you can't stop me. And they all just stand there, which I don't know that the X-Men ever pulled that move before. Wait, hey, Colossus, you could stand in the way and the bullet would bounce off you. Why are you just standing there letting him shoot people? Kind of scary, kind of shocking that nobody is doing anything. They're just all gonna take the shot. And then blam, shot goes off. No, it wasn't our guy. It was the cop that we had seen earlier doing crowd control. He shoots
Matt Murdock.
Yeah. He pulls the trigger. He shoots Stryker, doesn't kill him, wounds him. They arrest him. They take him away. And then we get into the epilogue here. Before we dive into the epilogue, Justin, exciting, thrilling. What are you feeling here?
Yeah, man, this was like an intense like standoff right here at the end, and again, Stryker trying to. I mean, he believes this stuff. Like he is fully on board with everything he's saying, and he's just like, if anything, he thinks they're nuts. Like he's like, look at Nightcrawler, look at this monster. Are you telling me? You know, and you could just tell in the way it's illustrated. He's not bullshitting. Like this is real. Like he stands by what he says here, and that's what's extra scary. And so seeing that, and then seeing the gun, close up, the different angles, like from the side view and the straight on view, and then the blam, like all really, really well done. And I think that like them standing there was more of just a sense of like, we're not afraid of you. We're going to stand our ground. Also, maybe in the back of their head, they're like, well, Magneto's, right there too.
I mean, if I was Cyclops, I'd be like, I'm going to stand behind a couple of you guys. Like there's a few of you that could definitely take this shot, but I'm not one of them.
I'm not one. Yeah. But yeah, overall, definitely just heavy scenes. And the fact that he dies from a police officer, another human, essentially, who recognizes that this is not
from wrong.
Yeah, and that's kind of been sprinkled. Yeah, that's been sprinkled throughout this book, right? Like hearing some people like saying, like, isn't that a little violent? Isn't this Stryker guy a little over the top? Like it was hinted. Not every human was on board with what Stryker was saying. So I like that.
That's what
Claremont was able to show that off a little bit. Yeah. Like
the hero is not just a human being who remembers his humanity and isn't seduced by demagoguery.
Right. Yeah. Good.
And he's protecting anybody that may be in danger.
That's bad. Yeah.
Even if the X-Men are super powered, he's still,
it's what's
doing
right.
his job.
He's doing what's right. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
And I like that panel is just him. The cop. Like it's just him. Serious face. Yeah. He's like, hey, I'm here to do what I paid to do. What I know is right.
So, Chett, I remember this era being like the heyday of the TV and evangelical like Christians, like the mega churches and their television shows and
the Rex Humbards,
the Tammy Faye Bakers, and
what was that other guy's name?
This felt like Chris Claremont, like just basically shouting out the hypocrisy of some of those TV priests. Not church in general. I don't think he's taking shots at church.
No, I don't think
more people who use faith in the method to meet their own ends, whether that's enriching themselves or pursuing something incredibly toxic.
He certainly colored that in on these in this story, in terms of, from what we know in reality from these people and what they do, and we'll please ourselves through the word of the Lord, and it'll bring us riches and peace and blah blah blah.
Right.
That's basically the fanatic he put on the stage in this book, and we got to see that all come crumbling. So maybe it's a foreshadowing of things to come in reality, but we've seen it already. So who's to say it's going to stop?
No, Tony, this is not the 700 Club. Get out of here. Get out of here. Tony, killing me. So we get into the epilogue. Magneto basically saying, see, I freaking told you so. You should have been on my side all along. What the heck's wrong with you guys? Xavier saying, maybe you're right. Maybe I was wrong all this time. And then all the X-Men saying, what the hell's wrong with you guys? We just proved that humanity is worth it. That it can work. That cop proves it. What are we still debating this? And then Magneto's like, all right, peace. I'm out of here. If you guys don't want to fight with me, I'm out of here. And he bolts, he flies off to come back later. Xavier sheds a little tear because his students reminded him what it's all about. And then a little interracial romance here. You get the Storm and Cyclops holding hands, leaning in for the little cheek kiss, and the end. I love this ending. I don't think it works really well on so many levels.
Yes.
Chett,
Yeah.
how are you feeling about this somewhat sad, melancholy, and then after all those amazing entrances, bye-bye, Magneto.
Well, Magneto, obviously, he left a pretty indelible mark in this book. He knows what he stands for, and he tells us what he stands for. And when he leaves the scene here, you just get the sense that, Charles just feels like, I don't know, does he feel like twisted in a sense like Magneto's right, but maybe I can still do, achieve my dream, and I think that leaves a lot of questions unanswered in this book a little bit, but going forward anyway. But the scene between Storm and Cyclops, pretty touching moment. I like the fact that they end it, in a harmonious way between, Cyclops and Storm, one being one color, another being the other.
Right.
And, we get the rest of the team joining as a family, so
Right.
they did a good job with this book. Obviously, Claremont wrote the hell out of this. I mean, I don't think you said it was your favorite of all time. It's definitely in my top 3, man. It's that good of a book. I keep thinking, what if they, just boom, did this correctly as a movie? It's definitely worth it. I mean, it would definitely, it has all the ingredients.
Totally.
Right.
So
Justin,
great
any
book.
thoughts here about how it wraps up?
First of all, I'm trying to keep it together with this gif of what's his name drinking the wine.
Oh, yeah, Will Ferrell.
The way he's shaking, so funny. I'm trying to be serious here, listening to chat. I'm just trying to keep it.
Misky T's crying. Yeah, that should keep you sad. Shedding a tear. Here, we got TJ in the chat. TJ saying this book was relevant back then, even more so now. We're saying that this predated the emergence of the evangelical right as a political force, which occurred in the late 80s. There you go.
I think that to what you were saying before about seeing Xavier questioning and almost going to this other side and joining Magneto, I think a lot of it's just, he's rattled. He's totally rattled. Obviously, what just happened, what he just came from, he almost killed, it showed how powerful he was and to be used in the incorrect way and how dangerous this one human, and his ideas were. I think kind of scared him, which I think is totally justifiable. It's understandable that he's feeling this way. But I do like that it's ironic in the way that now it's the students, and because normally it is Xavier who stands his ground. This is my belief. This is the dream that I had.
It feels like this book's a big dent in his dream.
Yeah, kind of. But I like that the students were on his side this time.
Right.
To say, no, like, hey, we're still here. Let's look at what we just did. Look at all the stuff that we accomplished. Let's stick to the dream that you have. And he's like, yeah, you're right. Like, and then to see Magneto just be like, again, remind me like X2 stuff, like just like, look, I'm trying to work with you guys. I want you guys on my team. I really do, but if you feel like you got to do it that way, go ahead and try. And when you fail, it'll be my turn next. And I love how it ends. I do think, as you said, John, it is a perfect ending. I think it really, like, there's nothing else that's missing in this ending at all. I think that it has everything. And it's a slower, quieter ending, sadder, and it should be, because there's everything that we just read is like, it's so heavy, on all levels. So, I agree with Chett. Like, let's get another movie going. I love that.
I will say one of the things I love about X2 is that when Magneto arrives to free Xavier, he flips the machine in reverse and has it try to kill all the humans, which I like that role reversal. I do like, but obviously in our story, he's pretty well injured by that psi blast and then ultimately unable to participate. But I do like the fact that he's playing a separate game.
Yeah.
There's 3 teams here at play in that film, right? Stryker and his force, the X-Men, and then Magneto. And ultimately the X-Men are in the middle, the wedge between these 2 sides, right?
Yep.
So let's get into a little of the finance and then we'll give our grades and wrap it all up. So one of the key things I wanted to mention is that there are many printings of this book. There are 9 as far as I could find online, and you got to look on the inside. The exterior usually looks exactly the same for all of them, so it can be really difficult to tell your printings from looking at the cover. So you got to go into the copyright information on the inside to really determine if they are later printings, it will say second, third, whatever printings
on the inside cover. You said,
in the copyright page portion.
So, okay, all right.
Sorry, Chett, I'm going to do it again.
It's like page 2 or something.
Yeah, I think it's the second page. It's down there in this section. There.
Oh yeah, I was just going to ask if that one had like the all black page. So yeah, I do that. It does.
Cool. Remember, everyone, the goal is print 1. I'm just kidding.
So that I have a few printings. Yeah, 9/8 go for about $250, but I think that's low. I do think the market on this book is a little higher than a 9/8.
It definitely is.
So that seems like it's maybe an average, and as a result, you're going to not see the higher where it is now value. As Chett mentioned, this is an inspiration for a lot of moments from the Fox X-Men films, specifically X2 in general, but definitely a lot of things from across all those films. The ones
we also had an X3 moment too. Think about it. Remember when Peter Dinklage is in the safe and the elevator?
First appearances, you got the Purifiers, you got William Stryker, and the first time we call Kitty Pryde Ariel. Those are the first appearance pieces here.
That's cool. I didn't realize that this was Stryker's first appearance. This book makes sense, but yeah, it's cool.
A GoFundMe for John collecting all 9 printings. There you go.
There you go.
I'll work on that, Tony. I got that.
I won't allow it.
And that is it. So I will stop sharing that, and we can get into final thoughts. Justin, grade, final thoughts. Where are you now that you've read this enough times? You feel like you've got the whole picture, right?
So I think that, and I'm taking this from Kavi, our friend from Comic Books NYC. He mentions, he has a few books where they're automatically a yearly read book or two. He has a couple Batman books that I know he automatically reads every year, once a year at least. And I think that this graphic novel is something I'm going to include moving forward to at least read once a year because it is that damn good. And I mean, we have not ranked many books as a 10. I think maybe 1 or 2 in this whole past 3 seasons. This is definitely a 10 for me. So it has everything in it. The relatability to real life obviously is the biggest hit. I like that, the references of muties and this darker side. It's not just like good guy, bad guy, but it's so much more with the politics and everything else, and the religion and the craziness with that. And, the dream sequence, the nightmares that Xavier had, all that stuff, together just landed this book as a 10.0 for me. So, anyone who's never read this before, I hope you read it. Obviously, the people hanging out with us now have read it. But yeah, this is going to be a yearly read for me because I loved it that much.
Nice.
Yeah.
Great. Chett, what about you, sir?
Whew. I don't know if I can match up to that grade by Justin, but
come on, Chett. Come on, Chett.
I can't call it a 10. It's something against my religion tells me not.
Byrne didn't draw this.
I understand.
You know I'm gonna say that. So
shout out to Anderson though. He did a great. I mean, this is a
beautiful book. Don't get me wrong. Beautiful book. I could say 9.9. But
I'll take it.
You know what I mean? It's a gem. It's really that good. It's basically it's a movie on paper. Okay, you got a team of, you got killing, you got religion, you have life, you have reality, you have death, and you have truth, you have, I guess just humanity, the inhumanities. This book touches every last portion of every aspect of life, basically.
Correct.
It's a 9.9, man. It's definitely a book worth owning, no matter what print it is. Even just to read. Justin wants to read it every year. I mean, I read this book a bunch back in the day. I'm really upset at myself for not continually reading it over and over to this day. And I'm glad I chose to be on this particular episode because it really has revived my love for this graphic novel.
Awesome. Yes. That's great to hear.
Heck yeah.
I love that.
Yep.
I'm going to give it a 10. Chaos, you're right. I'm going to give this a 10. It is my
favorite. Fine. Just throw me in there. Fine.
We guilted him into it.
Twist his arm, man.
I know where you live, John.
We magnetoed him. We magnetoed him just a little bit.
For me, it's everything I want in an X-Men book. I guess if there was anything I'd add, it's just give me more Storm doing some cool stuff. Like I know she's kind of sidelined, but for me, Magneto is so well used. He's just phenomenal. It hits all the right levels of paranoia, of abuse of power, of racism and prejudice. It's so well articulated, and the moments are so well used. Characters are used really well. Colossus has great moments. Nightcrawler has great moments. Kitty Pryde has great moments. I just feel like it really works, and again, it encapsulates everything really well into one story. And I think it's hard for books to do that so effectively. So for me, if I want a jolt of the pure stuff, the real pure X-Men, this is the book that I would draw out. And again, it's a great one to pick for people who may want to learn about X-Men the first time, never read it. You could definitely, this would be a book that could easily be utilized in that.
I'm going to say a moment of applause for Brent Eric Anderson on this one.
Yes.
Because, he gave us some really good visuals.
Yep.
Combined with that story, his visuals were perfect for this book.
Yep.
Totally.
Yep. I want posters everywhere of all those.
That's Cyclops.
All those Magneto scenes, man. Oh, yeah, the Cyclops. Yeah,
oh, that was so sick.
Wicked. Yep.
TJ says, I wonder if this book is banned in Florida yet. Oh, there it was. There it was, sir. Eventually. Yeah, says Gore. So there you go. Around the horn, some great comments, some great stuff. Chett, a huge thank you for coming and joining us.
Yeah.
Like I said, his link is down below. Justin's link's down below, but we're going to stick around now because it's trivia time. We are here to ask some questions about annual that we read on Justin's channel, annual 6, and the episode that we had over there. So if you didn't read that or watch that, don't worry. We're still looking for jokes as well. The first 2 correct answers get on our list, and Chett's favorite funny answer gets on the list. So those are the things we're looking for. We're going to ask 4 questions. We're going to pick 3 winners each time, and Justin's going to kick us off.
Yeah, so my first question goes to, it's towards the middle of the book when the X-Men show up to basically like throw Dracula off guard. He's not ready for it. They do some really cool tricks. They end up stabbing him with a spear. Nightcrawler, Kurt, stabs him with a spear, and afterwards he's so wounded and he realizes like he can't take them all on at once. He decides he's going to hide somewhere. He's going to go somewhere else. Where does Dracula retreat to, essentially, or escape to during this battle scene? There's a lot that kind of goes on here, but there is, some clarification that he has to. He has a better strategy of just fighting one-on-one if he can go into this other area of where they were, this building.
What is his safe space?
What is the safe space? Yeah, exactly. What is the safe space, or where
he doesn't have? Yeah, he doesn't have a panic room.
Right. Yeah.
So first comedy answer, I'm assuming from Bobby, is the bathroom.
I mean, it's one place to hide.
When you gotta go, you gotta go, right?
Even vampires have to go.
Candace says he went to Hotel Transylvania.
Yes, there you go.
Transylvania 65000. Diana Ross's tour bus.
He's got to throw that in.
That's a safe space.
I don't know if that's a good place for Dracula. Isn't she like almost dead? No, stop. Yeah. I'm sorry. That was bad.
Could be. You guys are very, very funny. No one got a nosebleed on this panel. No mutants, apparently. No mutants. Tony says it was Victoria's Secret.
Victoria's Secrets.
Yeah, he'd put the S in the wrong spelling. Spelling matters, Tony. Chett's on the panel. He's very strict about that stuff.
Yes, you got to be right.
Don't you believe it?
I will say, so far we've only got 1 correct answer. Somebody can copy and paste by this point to get the correct answer.
Yes, I do see a correct answer.
I'm saying we need 2 correct answers. So
somebody copy and paste Diana Ross's tour bus, quick.
Yes. Candace says a hall of mirrors so he doesn't have to look at himself.
That's a good one.
Bella's arms. Just don't tell Edward. Twilight comedy. I like it.
That's
like
good.
It's a good one.
I like how
I like
Magic
what Ryan
Lasso could
said.
get the answer in twice.
He could
before
really get it
anybody
3
else.
times for the comedy at that.
Give me both points is what he said, but Old Wolf got the second one.
There you go. There you go.
So Tony's staying strong. He's trying to hold tough with Chett. Let's see, are they still tied? No, Chett is up by 1 point. Tony's got to get 1 more point tonight, and then they'll be tied up again.
See you next week, Tony.
All right.
Chett's like, I'm not
Chett,
picking
did you
Tony
like
for anything.
Did you like any of the comedy answers?
Yeah, I did. Lasso had one in there, but I think Candace had a good one too.
Candace said Hall of Mirrors, and she said Hotel Transylvania.
I like that one, Hotel Transylvania.
There you go,
nice,
Candace with
nice.
the point. Let me make sure I got it. Where are we at, Candace? There we are.
I'm hearing the song in my head, and it's all jacked up now because of her.
There you go. All right, my question involves Rachel Dinners. Rachel, who is a big part of this issue, we learn actually is not named Rachel Dinners, has a different last name because she has a famous ancestor. Who is Rachel's famous ancestor?
I can't believe that we witnessed Rachel's dinner last
We
episode.
did.
Like, it really happened.
It took
really
3
went down.
omnis to find
It's
Rachel's
incredible.
dinner.
It's really
And
something
there we go.
special. Like that's a key.
That's
That should
never
be-
going away, is it?
That should be a CGC, listed thing.
First appearance
as a
of
key.
Rachel Dinner.
Yes. When did Rachel's
Dinner.
Yes.
See the importance of a typo.
That's your typos have added so much comedy. It's great. It really is great, Chett. We love you, man.
We're off to another good one here.
Where's JP right now? I wish he was in the chat to
we
say
got-
or.
We got correct answer in Van Helsing. We got wrong answer in Van Helsing.
Hessing.
We got wrong answer in Van Halen.
I almost said Panama.
Oh, that's good, Bobby.
We've got, I think, wrong answer in Van Helsing.
Helsing.
And a correct answer with Van Helsing. So
you go.
Candace beats Tony out of that
Yeah.
extra spot.
Tony, that
Tony's
Z
still
just
looking
killed
for that
you, man.
second, looking for that second point. But does that mean she's also related to Wolverine? Interesting.
I like Bobby's Van Halen.
Lots of misspelled answers in there. One I think was only this is the only one that I think was a correct misspelling. They were Bobby's actually saying Van Halen. Nice correct answer. Did you have any in there that Chett you want to reward?
We'll go with Bobby.
Nice.
I was thinking Van Halen the second that I thought
There
of
you
Van Helsing.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
The
Nice
song went off in my head. Panama.
Acceptable.
I don't know why.
Acceptable. That's acceptable. I accept it. All right. Last question for you, Justin.
Yeah. So my second question is, what's the last thing Rachel describes seeing before Wolverine stabs and kills her? Spoilers.
Oof.
What is the last thing she's almost mumbles under her breath in those like kind of dramatic scenes when Wolverine ends up stabbing her? She
Oh,
kind of
me.
collapses. She collapses into his lap, and she says she sees something. What is it that she sees? This opens up some good comedy. I think that
Doesn't
we can
it?
get some good opportunity to make Chett laugh here. But yeah, so what is it that she sees as she's stabbed and killed by Wolverine towards the end of the episode?
Oh, man.
There's so many answers that I'm expecting. This is going to be funny.
She's saying the joke was that Hugh Jackman played Wolverine and Van Helsing.
There it is.
That's what
Okay,
it was.
yeah.
He was a good Van Helsing.
Right?
Yeah.
I would love that movie.
It was my bad, Candace. I should have known better.
Yeah, I was deep in the tank there.
So Tony says Sunsight.
Oh, Sunsight.
I don't know what Sunsight is, but then he fixed it and said Sunrise. Acceptable.
Tony got the case of the Chetts.
It's close.
Gore saying before
Is that what we're
sunset,
calling it?
before sunshine.
John, we got to get a T-shirt. The case of the Chetts on the front.
But it's got to be misspelled.
Yeah,
There's only one T.
The case.
I got a case of the Chetts.
Oh, man.
But then we've got Lasso saying the sun. which you said was an acceptable answer. So that would make Lasso with the second correct answer.
Yeah, the case of the cheats.
I got a case of the cheats.
Yeah, that's
You're
good.
talking about case of the cheats with being a Yankee fan.
Get out of here.
Probably got a
Cheese,
steroid
cheese.
Gatorade water in the back somewhere in that dugout. I'm sorry, John.
Girth not like it.
Wait, Wolverine?
That joke absolutely broke down due to spelling, brother. Absolutely fell apart.
What is that?
He was making a penis
Girth
joke,
not
but it did
link
not play
it.
out the way he
Link
wanted.
it.
Yo, he's
She
got
saw a
terminal
giant-sized X-Men 1 in a perfect 10.0.
Oh, that'd be a nice
See,
sight
the
as
guy
you're
who's
dying.
playing to his audience, right?
That's
That
smart,
that might kill me.
a perfect.
So you
an
think you would fade away and burn?
Oh
off
my god, like
the light
Thanos
of
at the end of Infinity War.
Candace says, no, it's the little baby son from Teletubbies up in the sky.
Teletubbies. There you go.
Any of these wowing you, Chett?
Go back a couple.
Yep.
I think I missed one that I liked.
She's cheese. She sees cheese
That's a good one.
before sunrise, before sunshine. Lots of spelling mistakes.
Yeah.
Sunsight.
Let's go. I think for the funny
Sunset.
answer, it's gonna have to be Lasso's cheese.
She sees cheese.
Because at the end of the day,
Cheese.
you don't even need the end the dome part. Yeah, I get the sunny, the translation of it all.
Goodness. All right. Last question is mine. At one point, Dracula puts Storm in a coffin and she hates it. She freaks out. Why does Storm not like being in the coffin? What's the big deal?
Because she thinks everyone should be free.
She's a kink shamer, is what it is. She's kink shaming you.
And then she does a pirouette.
Yeah. Why does Storm dislike the coffin? He hooks her up with a pretty nice coffin, from what I recall. I mean, everybody's got their favorites, I suppose.
There's some great panels in that last issue. I see Dracula doing that pointing where he's like,
Yep.
yeah,
Saturday Night Fever point.
That's right.
angry. Yeah.
Bobby and Lasso with spell correct working for them. I like it. Yeah, she's claustrophobic. But obviously it's totally okay not to want to be put in a
There it is. The point.
That's a whole other reason. She was buried alive as a child. I mean, yes, that's why she's claustrophobic, right? Look at how much more detail Gore puts into his answer.
I'm saying he gives us the feeling of being claustrophobic.
Yeah.
It smells like cheese in the coffin.
Ooh.
That's
a good answer.
it depends on the cheese, but most
It
cheeses
depends on
smelly.
yeah.
The mini fridge inside didn't have sparkling water.
Boo.
That's frustrating.
That is very.
I'd be upset about that.
Those are two good answers.
Right. A couple more seconds. You gotta beat smells like cheese, or you gotta beat the mini fridge if you want to get on the list for tonight. Old Wolf hoping for one more point and to be up one.
By the way, I just flipped to the next page, and this is what we're getting next week.
Xavier is a jerk.
This is what we're getting next week. Yeah.
All right. She feels like the cheese in the dome.
Yeah.
All right. What's your winner, Chett?
The first answer is no.
Sorry.
Hold on. Not that one.
Not the smells like cheese.
Fridge.
No. Well, Bobby De La Ghetto with the smells like cheese and Old Wolf with the mini fridge. Can they split that point?
Sure. I'll do it. I'll hook them both up.
I like both of those.
There you go.
Quarter
Chet.
point each.
Giving out points.
Nice. Chet's just like throwing them out there. Nice, guys. Nice. Good
Thanks
stuff.
everybody for joining us. I know this was a lot longer than normal. There's a lot more book to read here.
Last couple. I mean, we did the king size, we did giant size X-Men, we did this. Like, I figure, these couple episodes are gonna be a little longer. But I think
so.
we did a
But
good
don't
job.
worry. Next week, back on Justin's channel, he'll do a very smooth 1 hour show. We'll get it done on time, timely manner. Timely Justin is what we call him. So, but
AKA
to be
2 hours.
there, you got to subscribe and hit the notification bell for Justin's channel. It's linked down below, and we'll be over there in a week reading about how Xavier is a jerk and get another finger pointed at us.
Get that T-shirt ready there, John.
It's washed.
It's washed.
Chett, thank you for joining us. As always,
Yeah.
a consistent
Thank you, man.
highlight of this season's. This show would not be the same without you, sir.
Yeah.
And
Thanks for the invite, guys. I'm glad I got to
Absolutely.
get on here with you guys with this book. It's
Totally.
really been fun. Let me know if anybody cancels down the road before the season ends. I'd love to come back on.
We'll pull you out of the bullpen right away.
Yes.
There you go. I'll warm up the arm.
Love it. Love it. Love it.
All right, so everybody, we'll get out of here before we hit the 2-hour mark. Thanks everybody for coming. Appreciate you all, and we'll see you next week. Bye.